Oh, I didn't see you there. Hey, I'm just working on starting my final draft for my graphic novel. You want me to show you how I'm getting going on that and how I can start it? All right. So here's what I did. I got out all my materials that I've been using to plan and kind of run a first rough draft of my graphic novel. So I got my story mapping that I did. Then I did some more like writing to plan. So I kind of planned out what I want to include on each page and some thoughts. So I did some book mapping. Then I did some thumbnailing to match what I wrote to appear on each page to actually like include some pictures of what I want to include on each page. They're not like the most beautiful thing, but they make sense to me and it's a quick draft, right? I also have out some doodles I did that have like ideas for character drawings and some ideas about my characters. So I finished my thumbnailing. I'm ready to start drafting. Like I'm ready to get going. So I have some materials out to do that. So I have my big piece of construction paper that I kind of threw a bunch of plain paper in. I might even get some like lined, some paper with boxes already, maybe too. But this is going to be the cover. I'm going to put my pages inside of here and eventually like put it together to make a book. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to touch my big piece of paper and I'm going to just fold it, which I guess some would say the hot dog way because it ends up, or hamburger way, because it ends up a little bit wide like a hamburger. And this is my cover. As great as it's going to be to have a cover, I don't totally have an idea for it yet. And I think it's going to be more important to actually have the book ready before I go to a cover. Have you ever noticed that sometimes books don't really have like pictures on the cover? It's not super essential. So I'm going to start getting out some blank paper to get ready to draft my first thumbnail page, my first scene. Take this and actually put it on the page, right? It's not going to look like this. It's going to be neater, I promise, okay? So let me show you how I'm going to do that because I also, if you noticed, like my page is a blank canvas, as blank as a canvas can get, so that I have all the opportunity to be creative on this. So let me show you how I'm going to get started. So I have all those materials out. I'm also getting a ruler. I'm going to need a straight edge. So if you don't have something or you don't have a ruler, find something with a straight edge that you can use to make nice clean lines. And then I also have my handy dandy pencil with my eraser top. Maybe you even have your own eraser at home. That is super important. This is my final draft. This is eventually going to be colored in and turned into my book. So I definitely do not want to have messed up lines or marks or anything. Okay, so I'm going to start drafting this thumbnail. The first thing I'm going to do, number one, is get my panels organized. So I realize I have two larger ones on the top, two on the bottom, one in the middle. I want to try to balance this out as best I can. So it looks like my paper, and if you have the same paper as me, which is just a plain piece of computer paper, I even want to space it out really neatly. So I'm going to do some math here. I know, can you believe it? So it's about 28 inches that I need to split into 3 equal parts. So that's 28. And I said inches, I'm measuring in centimeters. Oh my goodness. So 28 divided by 3 gets me a little over 9 centimeters a section. Because it's a little over, I'm actually just going to make them 9 because I also want to account for space in between panels, okay? So here we go. I'm going to start by just making dashes every 9 centimeters. And I'll leave about 0.3 in between. So that's 9. 9.3 plus 9 more is 10.3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, 18.3, and then plus 9 more gets me about 27.3. So it's not going to be totally perfect, but that's close enough. So now that I've kind of measured out a little bit of how much space I'm going to have in between each, I'm going to start making my lines across. I'm going to go back and do some erasing later. That's why it's so important to do this in pencil. So I'm just going to start with a line straight across. I made a mistake, but that's fine. That's why I'm working in pencil. Here comes my next one. I remember my middle one was going to be one big one. I'm making lines where I put all those little dots. Okay. And then I got one on top. And then it looks like my page is about 26 centimeters across. And I want to split this top and bottom down the middle. So half of 26 would be about 13 centimeters. Oh, I'm sorry. 21, 22, 23, 24, 21.6. Wow, I really got to use some decimal thinking here. 21.6. As soon as I laid that out and I saw 13, I'm like, that's no way accurate. So if I take 20 and split it in half, that's 10.5. That's about 11.1. I'm going to draw my line through here. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. And I'm even going to stretch it out a little bit longer. Notice how I'm not picking up my ruler. I want them to match on each side. Okay. And I'm going to go again, make sure they match. I have some extra lines, but hold on. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to add some on the side. Add some across. And then this is why we work in pencil. It's so much easier just to make the line and then go back later and erase. So at this point, if you want to start your panels and pause this video and then pick back up with me, go ahead and do it. If you've already been paneling with me, you're awesome and on track. If you want to watch this and then kind of do it on your own, totally fine. Personally, I think a good use of your time would definitely be to start paneling along with me now that you kind of see how we can get started. I chose to measure mine out. I wanted it to be as close as I could to similar. If you want to go for a different kind of way to organize your thinking, go ahead and do that. My way is not the highway. All right, so now I have 5 panels. Excelente. I'll go back with like a dark color and shade over that in the end as well. Okay, so here's what we've got next. Now I'm going to start drawing my actual pictures into here. So Sally was walking down the street, wishing she had someone or something to keep her company. So I'm going to draw this first box in this first box. I noticed that I had a little narrative, so I'm going to create a line in here, similar to how we saw in our read aloud book, to write that in. Oh, I'm going to have to write tiny. Sally was walking down the street wishing she had someone or something to keep her company. Oh, check it out, this rookie error I'm making. I did not have enough room. So what can you think about when you're doing your work and you have to do writing? It might be helpful for you to write it and then make your line. So someone or something to keep her company. So I'll probably go over this, color it, trace it, and then in the end, I will go over it in a darker color to make it stand out. Okay, so now that I have my dialogue, I can start drawing. So I'm gonna put my sun in the corner to help show setting. Sally is walking down the street. So I'm gonna make a little sidewalk. I'm gonna draw Sally. So notice how my people are kind of meeting me at the ability that I need to be at. Okay. It doesn't have to be this perfect thing. And then I'm going to make her hair very geometrical. She has rectangular hair. Okay. And then I'm going to put that look on her face. I remember when I was doodling, I was like, oh, I don't really need her facial expressions to really be anything that great. And I think I had her also like humming a song. Right. And maybe I'll have her eyebrows like a little sad. She's whistling, but she's not doing the greatest. And honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna add any more. Maybe I'll have like some buildings in the background, like a skyline. But simpler is better, right? A lot of your thumbnails you might go back to and realize like, I don't know if I want to have all of those details in my work. So even like this, I'm like, that's not going to work. That's why I'm working in pencil. So don't be afraid once you start doing some of your final drafting to make some decisions to decide, ooh, you know what? All those details, I definitely don't think I need in my story actually, right? So then this is the grocery. I picked grocery store because I think that's going to be important later on in the story. Right? All right, so now I go to my next one and I'm going to continue that on. Take notice of some of the tips I gave along the way, right? Any writing you do, write it, then put your speech bubble around it, then add your lines in. You're working in pencil. Think about how you want to do your paneling. If you want to make sure they're spaced out equally, or if you want the vibe of your book to be a little less perfect. All right. Keep that in mind. But when you're ready, start transferring your thumbnails onto a final copy. Get your pages done, then worry about coloring in and outlining and all that stuff. But pencil is key. All right. Happy working. Don't be afraid to make some changes too, right? Just because you have your thumbnail doesn't mean that that's exactly what your story needs to be. Don't be afraid to make some decisions now on how your story needs to go. All right. Happy writing.